Hello, you're welcome to One Network Port Harcourt Center. Today is 11th day of August 2022. It's a Thursday and the weather in Port Harcourt is a bit between warm and cold. Rained in the night in some parts of Port Harcourt and some parts of Port Harcourt is experiencing some bit of warmth as the sun begins to rise. Today is August the 11th, 2022. The program is Newspaper Review. The station is One Network Center, Port Harcourt, and One Network Port Harcourt Center, and you can reach us on Megaband FM 97.3. Megaband FM 97.3 FM. As usual, as we want to do, we begin with Today in History. Today in History, what has happened today, 11th day of August, years past. And we go back to Europe, something that affected Europe but also had impact on the rest of the world in 1315. 1315, the Great Famine of Europe. 1315, the Great Famine of Europe becomes so dire that even the King of England has difficulties buying bread for himself and his entourage. 1315, the Great Famine of Europe becomes so dire that even the King of England has difficulties buying bread for himself and his entourage. And we go over to 1929. Babe Ruth becomes the first baseball player to hit 500 home runs in his career with a home run at League Park in Cleveland, Ohio. Babe Ruth was one of baseball's best player in the world, and in 1929 Babe Ruth becomes the first baseball player to hit 500 home runs in his career with a home run at League Park in Cleveland, Ohio, United States of America. And we go over to 1942. In 1942, and this has to do with media, so of course you know why we appreciate it. In 1942, actress Hedy Lamarr and composer George Athiel received a patent for a frequency hopping spread spectrum communication system that later became the basis for modern technologies in wireless telephones, two-way radio communications, and Wi-Fi. You use Wi-Fi today? Yeah, so you want to know, in 1942, August 11, actress Hedy Lamarr and composer George Athiel received a patent for a frequency hopping spread spectrum communication system that later became the basis for modern technologies in wireless telephones, two-way radio communication, and Wi-Fi. And from 1942, we go straight down to 1960. And today in history, the Czech Republic declared independence from France. Today in history, Chad declared itself independence from France. And then we go over to 1988. It's coming closer to home. A meeting between Syed Imam al-Sharif, Osama bin Laden, Abdullah Yusuf Azam, and leaders of Egyptian Islamic Jihad in Afghanistan culminates in the formation of Al-Qaeda. We've been hearing so much about Al-Qaeda. A meeting between Syed Imam al-Sharif, Osama bin Laden, Abdullah Yusuf Azam, and leaders of Egyptian Islamic Jihad in Afghanistan culminates in the formation of Al-Qaeda. And from there we go over to 2003. 2003, August 11, NATO takes over command of the peacekeeping force in Afghanistan, marking its first major operation outside Europe in its 54-year history. In 2003, August 11, NATO takes over command of the peacekeeping force in Afghanistan, marking its first major operation outside Europe in its 54-year history. And from there we go over to 2017, August 11, 2017. At least 41 people are killed and another 179 are injured after two passenger trains collide in Alexandria, Egypt. 2017, on this date, at least 41 people are killed and another 179 people get injured after two passenger trains collide in Alexandria, Egypt. And then that's so much we'll be taking on today in history in this segment of newspaper review. We'll return after this very short break for the newspaper review proper. Please stay tuned. Yes, you're welcome back to One Network Port Harcourt Center. Today is August 11, 2022, and the program is still Newspaper Review. You can reach us on Megaband FM 97.3, 97.3, Megaband 97.3 FM. My name is Didi West, and we begin with the Punch. FG to generate 484 billion naira from e-payment channels. Federal government of Nigeria to generate 484 billion naira from e-payment channels. You want to see that report, you turn to page 19 of the newspaper. Buhari makes U-turn on Seplat ExxonMobil deal. Buhari makes U-turn on Seplat ExxonMobil deal. And that's the report that says the president has changed his mind about the ExxonMobil deal. That story you find on page 19 of the newspaper. And we go over to the next one. Right after that one, it says, Flutterwave hires 200, grows worldwide workforce by 38%. At this point, we will need to take a short break, and we'll be back to continue with the newspaper review. Yes, you're still tuned to One Network Center, One Network Port Harcourt Center. You can reach us on radio via 97.3 FM. We're sorry for the break in transmission and also starting the program late. The program is still Newspaper Review. My name is Didi West, and today we begin with the Punch. FG to generate 484 billion naira from e-payment channels. Federal government of Nigeria to generate 484 billion naira from e-payment channels. That story you'll find on page 19 of the Punch this morning. And we have right below that, the first story right below that, we have Buhari makes U-turn on Seplat ExxonMobil deal. Buhari makes U-turn on Seplat ExxonMobil deal. He's changed his mind about that deal. We want to find why and what has happened. Find that story also on page 19 of the newspaper. And we have Flutterwave hires 200, grows workforce by 38%. Good news, I must say. Flutterwave hires 200 people more and grows therefore growing its workforce by 38%. Page 21, you want to know why this is happening. That's good news that 200 more families have opportunities to earn some good income. And we'll go over to next one, and that's bringing Obasanjo into view. 2023, wrong choice may consume Nigeria, says Obasanjo. 2023, wrong choice may consume Nigeria, says Obasanjo. Page 14 of the Punch has that report. And we go over to the story right beside the masthead, and it says, "Shape your swords," body judge tells Atiku Wike. Shape your swords, body judge tells Atiku Wike. And that's because of the deepening crisis in the PDP, especially because of the outcome of the party's presidential primaries, and Wike and Atiku's camp has been digging deep, and body judges advising them to sheath their swords. And right below the masthead, we have dwindling revenue. Nigeria facing existential threat. World Bank warns. Dwindling revenue, Nigeria facing existential threat. World Bank warns. This story you should take seriously as you turn to pages 2 and 20 of the Punch this morning. And we have some riders there. The World Bank says the country ranks lowest in income among 115 countries, insists subsidy should go. World Bank says Nigeria ranks lowest in income among 115 countries, insists subsidy should go. And then we have another rider there. Federal government borrows 2.45 trillion from CBN in 6 months despite fiscal risks. Federal government borrows 2.45 trillion naira from the CBN in 6 months despite financial risks. We don't need to tell you that that's some news that should give us concern. Well, right under that, we have a picture story along with a headline that says a terrorist released 7 Kaduna train passengers, abduct 5. This is like a paradox of sorts. Terrorists released 7 Kaduna train passengers, abduct 5. Well, let's go on. Right to the bottom bottom part of the front cover of the Punch, we have our massacre. Security agencies begin manhunt for financiers. Our massacre. Security agencies begin manhunt for financiers. Remember the killings in the Catholic Church in Owo some weeks back. Now security agencies are going to seeking to get the financiers of that attack. The story you find on page 2 of the Punch this morning. And we have Lagos Ibadan, probably talking about the expressway. Robbers strike again, escape. Police make excuses. Lagos Ibadan, robbers strike again, escape. Police make excuse. You find this story on the report, detailed of it on pages 4 and 5, the Metropole pages of the Punch this morning. And we close with the Punch with saying 12-year-old kills Nigerian mother in US, blames intruder. 12-year-old kills Nigerian mother in the United States of America and blames an intruder for it. You want to know what this is about, especially because it concerns Nigeria? Turn to page 4 of the Punch this morning while we roll over to the Guardian. The Guardian 20, August 11, 2022 begins with this. PDP, party elders move to constitute campaign team, seek patience to end crisis. PDP, party elders move to constitute campaign team, seek patience to end crisis. That report you find on page 6 of the newspaper, and right beside that we find Buhari reverses approval for Seplat to buy ExxonMobil shares, supports NUPRC. This story has been trending, and there is a new development which says Buhari has reversed approval for Seplat to buy ExxonMobil shares, supports NUPRC. You can find details of that on page 2 of the newspaper. And we move over to a major headline on the cover of The Guardian, which reads, Presidency turn of South despite religion, Akeredolu insists. Presidency turn of South despite religion, Akeredolu insists. And you have some riders there that follow the headline. Lalong, Pope hasn't opposed my DJ appointment. Proud to lead APC's Muslim ticket campaign as a Catholic. Lalong, Pope hasn't opposed my DJ appointment. Proud to lead APC's Muslim ticket campaign as a Catholic. And then we'll have this other one here. Resign as VP candidate to save APC from embarrassing defeat. Middlebelt Congress tells Shetima. Resign as VP candidate to save APC from embarrassing defeat. Middlebelt Congress tells Shetima. Then we'll have one more. Lalong's appointment as Tinubu campaign DG, political miscalculation, says group. That's Governor Lalong's appointment as Tinubu's campaign director general, political miscalculation, according to a group. Want to find more of that? Grab a copy of The Guardian, and we go over to a picture story, which the first picture story on the cover of The Guardian this morning, which has some athletes from the Birmingham 2022 Commonwealth Games who have returned to Nigeria, being welcomed by officials of the Federal Ministry of Sports and Youth Development. And then right under that we have the same picture we saw in the other newspaper, a picture of the trainer doctors that were released by the bandits, by the terrorists, and you have the report there, you have the picture there on the cover, and right below that we have 4 stories at the bottom end of the cover of the Guardian, beginning with Akeredolu explains mix-up in arrest of Kuje prison escapee Idris Ojo. Governor Akeredolu explains mix-up in arrest of Kuje prison escapee Idris Ojo. And we have Flutterwave hires 200, welcomes new CPO. Flutterwave hires 200, welcomes new CPO. And then we have Igbo youths ask promoters of Tinubu to keep off Southeast. Igbo youths ask promoters of Tinubu to keep off Southeast. I don't know how you see that kind of story, because candidates need to go across different parts of the country to campaign. So, you want to find more of that, you turn over to page 7 of The Guardian this morning. And we have government will not borrow 1.1 trillion naira to meet ASU's demand, says Umahi. Governor Umahi of Ebonyi State is being quoted here as saying that government will not borrow 1.1 trillion naira to meet ASU's demand. Well, find more details of that report as you turn over to page 7 of The Guardian. And here we go to Vanguard. Vanguard, we have a quote from the column of Olufashion, and it says, in his nearly 8 years in office, Buhari has largely been missing in action, either globetrotting or hold up in Aso Rock, utterly concerned about the deteriorating security and welfare of Nigerians. So you want to find details of this column, you turn to page 16 of Vanguard, and we have train attack. 6 ex-military governor's family members, 60-year-old released on Gumi senator's intervention. Train attack, 6 ex-military governors' family members and the 60-year-old released on Gumi senator's intervention. You want to see that report? If I go to page 9 of the newspaper, that's Vanguard, and we have here 2023 Sultan Khan sign peace pact. 2023 Sultan and Christian Association of Nigeria sign peace pact. Details to find on page 3 of Vanguard. You want to see for yourself what this is about. Very interesting story, I think. Then we move over to this other story that's been trending. Mobile assets. Buhari withdraws consent over $1.3 billion oil deal. Mobile assets. Buhari withdraws consent over $1.3 billion oil deal. You want to find out more? Turn to page 34 of the newspaper, and we have first half 2022. More pension funds moving into FG securities, up 6.2% to 9 trillion naira. First half of 2022, more pension funds moving into FG securities, up 2.6% to 9 trillion naira. And right below the masthead, we have the major headline of the newspaper, and it reads, tension in PDP as crisis worsens, elders weigh options. Tension in PDP as crisis worsens, elders weigh options. And we have some riders following that headline, campaign council to be unveiled within 2 weeks in Abuja. Substantial progress is being made, Article's camp says. Will resolve crisis soon, PDP leader is quoted as saying. Ayub should resign honorably, says Bode George. And Bode George urges Wike not to jump ship. Wike, one-man balancing force, says Mimiko. Wike, one-man balancing force. Mimiko, so much is happening in the PDP, but let's move on with the newspaper review. Right below that, we have a picture story of the South African envoy visiting the APC presidential candidate Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and you can see the picture of the South African diplomat and the rest of the people that welcomed him to when he visited Tinubu yesterday. And then we have this one here, drama as motorists, commuters chase traffic robbers on Lagos-Ibadan expressway. Drama as motorists, commuters chase traffic robbers on Lagos-Ibadan expressway. And then right below that I have the interesting story we've been reading from other newspapers. Flutterwave raises staff size by 200, names new chief people and culture officer. Flutterwave raises staff by 200, names new chief people and culture officer. You find that story on page 35 of the newspaper. And we have, of course, Vanguard has interesting cartoons on its cover every day. You can just look at that for yourself. And we have this one here, Obi Tinubu in war of words over fake news allegations. Obi Tinubu in war of words over fake news allegations. This story has been trending, and there's an update from it, and find details of that on page 4 of the newspaper. And we have UTNE screening. Varsities orders to make 3.3 billion from candidates. UTNE screening. Varsities orders to make 3.3 billion naira from candidates. Interesting report. Turn to page 3 of Vanguard this morning, and we move over to another headline, and it is daily fuel consumption probe. Reps demand details of oil companies in DSDP contract. Daily fuel consumption probe. House of Representatives is demanding details of oil companies listed in the DSDP contract. Again, that report is on page 4 of Vanguard, and we move over to our last take from Vanguard this morning, and it reads, Muslim ticket. Pope hasn't told me to reject DG appointment, says Lalong. Muslim ticket. Pope hasn't told me to reject DG appointment, says Governor Lalong. And then here we go to The Nation. The Nation this morning, August 11, 2022, Thursday. Cool weather here in Port Harcourt, and the station is still 1 Network Port Harcourt Center. You can reach us on 90 megaband 97.3. Yes, if you want to dial and reach us on phone, you can call on 0901 748 4980, or you can say 0901 748 4980. The newspaper we are looking at right now is The Nation, and The Nation begins with EFC to try 3 officials for altering pardon list. Wow. EFCC to try 3 officials for altering pardon list. You want to see what it's about, which pardon list, whose pardon list, and who are these people that did this? Turn to page 2 of The Nation this morning. And right next to it we have NSCIA can sign 2023 Peace Pact. NSCIA, that's a Muslim body, and Christian Association of Nigeria signed 2023 Peace Pact, and both organizations are saying that free, fair polls needed. The story you'll find on page 28 of the publication. And we move over to this one here. Train attack, terrorists free family of 6 hostages. Train attack, terrorists free family of 6 hostages. Page 4, you'll find the report. And rein in your supporters, Tinubu campaign council tells Obi. Rein in your supporters, Tinubu campaign council tells Obi. It's still going on back and forth between those two camps. Well, right below the masthead of The Nation, we have Buhari reverses approval for Seplat to buy ExxonMobil shares. Buhari reverses approval for Seplat to buy ExxonMobil shares. And right next to that we have student commits suicide. Yet again, student commits suicide. Sad story. You find details of this and why it happened on page 3 of The Nation. And right below that we have this big one, PDP crisis. Why are you must quit now? By ex-party chair. PDP crisis. Why are you must quit now? By ex-party chair. Bode George, chairman, candidates can't come from one zone. Bode George, chairman, candidates can't come from one zone. And then we move over to the other report there. Nigeria not benefiting from high crude oil price, says NESG. Nigeria not benefiting from high crude price, says NESG. You want to find out why the Nigerian Economic Summit Group is saying this?